Have you ever daydreamed about what it would be like to kiss David Suzuki? I mean, look at him. He looks very kissable. Maybe not a romantic kiss, but the kind of kiss you might give Santa. I think Suzuki's beard would tickle a bit and probably smell like quinoa and lentil soup and maybe hemp oil. But sure, I'd kiss him. Not on the lips, on the cheek probably. Hey, don't tell me you've never thought about it. I think Suzuki has a kind of thrall over people, particularly women. Look at this video from the disco 70s of Suzuki talking absolute crazy talk, like seriously cult-like crazy talk, but they're just smiling and giving him that 1,000-yard lovey smiley stare.
Most people in the world are content to stay as first or second level maggots, and they establish their own little area and they crawl around there, and that's fine. And the guys that become 10th level maggots are really big wheels.
Okay, fine. So he's a bit weird, but still, that was when he was young. He's all grown up now, and now he's about doing good deeds. I mean, sure, he's a one-percenter with multiple residences, a jet-set lifestyle, but now he's all about other people, not himself. I mean, take it from him.
At my age, no one can accuse me of wanting more fame or power or money.
What a saint! No wonder the government TV network, the CBC, gives him an hour of propaganda time each week and has for years. No wonder his foundation has charitable status with Revenue Canada, even though they have a dozen registered lobbyists on the payroll. The man ain't about money or fame, people, so love him, okay? Except maybe his carefully cultivated public image of a saint, a charity worker, a man who isn't in it for himself. Well, maybe that's not true. I mean, take Suzuki's visit to a junior college in Quebec last fall called John Abbott College. It's a small school, just 5,700 full-time kids. They invited Suzuki to give a talk there. And he agreed for $30,000, seriously, for a 55-minute speech, and then the right to hawk his books afterwards. Here's his invoice, 30,000 smackers. But of course, Saint Suzuki doesn't just need his fee. He has expenses, too, like a hotel room. And not just any room will do. He'll need $841 for that, plus an airline ticket, plus a personal photographer for $718, plus $1,187 for miscellaneous. His little stop-by cost this college $41,640 and 80 cents. He's a saint, ain't he? It's not about the money for him, is it? Oh, my God. Well, listen, those 3 homes ain't going to pay for themselves. His penthouse suite ain't going to pay for itself. But I started our little talk today by mentioning Suzuki's kissability. Too bad for me, though. He says he's not much into kissing these days. Look.
As I get older, my testosterone levels drop, and you know, I'm getting smarter because I'm not thinking about sex all the time.
So he's not thinking about sex all the time. Well, there goes my chance for a snuggle. I'm not sure if anyone would have thought that Suzuki was always thinking about sex, but I guess he's thinking about it enough to think he needs to tell us when he's no longer thinking about it all the time. So that puts the creepy, starry-eyed girls at that maggot talk into a new light. But hey, that's over. That's over with. So I guess that's good. But hang on. Suzuki's contract with John Abbott College, it didn't just have a financial aspect, the 41 grand. It had what rock stars called a rider when they sign up for a gig. That is, there were other conditions for having the great man grace John Abbott College. Did he request vegetarian snacks in his room? Did he insist that the front row be set aside for orphans and widows, maybe? No. A little bit more like what, say, the band Kiss or Motley Crue might want. Yeah, here's an internal email outlining Suzuki's rider. Let me quote it at length. We have learned, I quote, via Dr. Suzuki's assistant, that although the doctor does not like to have bodyguards per se, he does not mind having a couple of ladies, females, that would act as bodyguards in order that he may travel from one venue to another without being accosted too many times along the way. Why females, you ask? Well, he is a male, unquote. Seriously, this was a planning memo for John Abbott College sent from Mary Milburn to at least 4 other people at the school involved with the event. And none of the people who got this email said, that's wrong, or that's sexist, or that's degrading, or that's creepy, or sorry, our female lady students aren't props. They complied. They selected ladies, not just ladies, but in the words of Suzuki's assistant, female ladies, which tells me maybe another college tried to substitute male ladies before and the doctor was not pleased. I don't know. Okay, fine. So the man's got some preference going on. Hey, why not? I mean, it worked for Muammar Gaddafi, at least for a little while. The great African dictator insisted that his elite force of bodyguards be all female too. But Suzuki didn't just want to choose their gender. He wanted to make sure they were really pretty. Let me quote from another memo that was sent as the college scrambled to make sure Suzuki's every wish was met. I'm quoting from an email now, as you can see at the bottom of this email exchange. A month after making the all-female request, Mary Milburn actually followed up with Jim Anderson at John Abbott College about it. Quote, Jim, have you selected the female students to escort Dr. Suzuki, unquote? And then she doubles down on the creepy. Do you think I could get a very brief meeting or see them at one of their classes, unquote? Seriously, a brief meeting, just quick enough to check them out, to see them, make sure they're just right, as in that they are ladies of the female variety, if you know what I mean. So Jim at John Abbott College cracked the whip. He wrote to a guy named Joe Sledge. Hi, Joe, and I'm quoting here. Please be certain that the women are, quote, nicely dressed. We don't want them in evening gowns, but definitely not police tech uniforms, unquote. So the administration of John Abbott College was having meetings and memos and follow-ups on selecting just the right girls to, what their word? To be Suzuki's escorts. And telling them to dress nicely. You know, not those butch security uniforms. Something maybe a bit sexier, but not slutty, mind you, just sexy. And then they did this. They did this. Paying Suzuki 30 grand plus expenses to talk for an hour is obscene. But procuring girls to be his, quote, escorts is a whole other level of gross. Let me close with one final memo from how this prima donna demanded to be treated. So here's a memo from Eric Schmidt to Mary Milburn talking about how these students might just get a chance to bask in Suzuki's greatness. Up at his hotel room. Here's the exact wording in the memo. Quote, in terms of acknowledging their contribution after the tours are completed, we will need to gather them together at the end to either give them some brief time with Suzuki, which I will try to make happen, either by having him step out of the penthouse or enabling them to join the group in the sanctified air, unquote. Yeah, come up to the hotel room and get some gratitude from David Suzuki. Now, I have no idea if that penthouse meeting with the escorts happened. I have no idea what was said or done at all there. The Sun put a note into the great doctor himself to ask if that penthouse meeting happened and who was there. Haven't heard back yet. Let's assume that the nicely dressed female ladies just got a handshake and a thank you. I'm sure they were on their best behavior. But the question is not about them, but about their school. Why did the John Abbott College agree to such a creepy request? Why do they put so much time and effort into selecting female ladies and having them just right? And even insisting that the girls be sent by university administrators, seen by university administrators in advance. What the hell was that college thinking? That's just a snapshot into one very lucrative visit to campus by David Suzuki, 30 grand richer, plus a lot of pleasant company. Suzuki crisscrosses Canada making tours all the time, often at taxpayer expense. His TV show on the CBC is at taxpayer expense. Does he have a female escort rider in all of his contracts? And if so, has there ever been a university administrator or a manager at the CBC who has refused to comply with his bizarre and sexist requests? I doubt it. The man's a saint. The same way his so-called charitable foundation gets away with political lobbying, the same way his junk science gets passed off as education in schools. This is just another case of a left-wing celebrity getting away with things that anyone else would be crucified for as a dirty old man. That's sickening, Suzuki.